This is Princess Rosalina. She was created in 2007, and if you've been paying attention to her voice, you might have noticed something weird. Here's how she sounded in 2007.
Let us begin.
Here's a clip from 2011.
Okay, alright.
And then here's how she sounds now.
Hello there. That's right.
Her voice sounds pretty different in each of those clips, right? And that's because Nintendo keeps changing Rosalina's voice actress. Considering the character's been around less than 20 years, why has her voice been so inconsistent? Why can't Nintendo stick with one person? Well, in this video, we'll answer that mystery. Here's why Rosalina doesn't sound like she used to. Our story begins in 2005, when Nintendo started working on a new Mario game called Super Mario Galaxy. This game was set in space, and the game's developers wanted to create a space princess to guide players on their journey. The result was Princess Rosalina, a powerful being who watches over the cosmos. Now, Rosalina was totally different from most other Mario princesses. Reserved, calm, even a little emotionless, at least on the outside. But she also had a much warmer side to her that players would discover as they played through Mario Galaxy. As the mother of the Luma characters, Rosalina has a maternal warmth to her, and also a deeply sorrowful past. In other words, Rosalina had a little more depth than, say, Peach. And so, to find a voice actress suitable for this role, Nintendo of America held some auditions. It was at this time that a voice actress named Mercedes Rose received a message from her agent. Now, Mercedes Rose wasn't exactly a gamer. In fact, she'd never touched a Mario game in her life. All she knew was Pac-Man and Space Invaders. Still, when she read the details of this new Mario princess that her agent had sent to her, she found herself drawn to the role. "I liked that her name was Rosalina," explained Mercedes Rose. "I also liked that she was the first new princess for Mario in many, many years. Plus, I think of myself as a princess, so it seemed like a natural fit." But what should Rosalina sound like? What voice should Mercedes Rose give her? Well, the little fact sheet she was sent by Nintendo explained that Rosalina was the mother of all Lumas, and this struck a chord for Rose. "I actually think a lot of myself went into Rosalina's voice," she stated. "I am a mother and a princess, so it seemed like a natural fit." And so Mercedes Rose put on what she described as her natural mum voice, and to her delight, she got the role. Here's what she sounded like in Super Mario Galaxy.
Let us begin. Look. Oh. Please.
Now, after Mario Galaxy's release in 2007, Rosalina reappeared in a number of Mario games, and Mercedes Rose continued voicing the character in games like Mario Galaxy 2 and Mario Kart Wii. But then, after that, Mercedes Rose suddenly stopped appearing in Mario games, and her character, Rosalina, was recast. In 2016, Mercedes Rose was asked whether it was her decision to stop voicing Rosalina. It was not, and thank you for letting me clear that up. I get emails from frustrated fans on a weekly basis asking me to please come back. It was never my decision. Nintendo just does that sometimes. So why did Nintendo recast Rosalina? Well, we can only speculate, but here's my theory. In the years after Mario Galaxy, Rosalina's personality began to change. She became more upbeat, she would celebrate her victories more outwardly, and her tragic past wasn't really brought up anymore. Perhaps because of this change in character, Nintendo wanted a fresh start for Rosalina's voice too. So, around 2011, Nintendo of America held another round of auditions for Rosalina's voice, and one auditionee was voice actress and graphic designer Kerrie Kane. Now, Kerrie Kane was kind of the opposite of Mercedes Rose. She was a huge fan of Mario. She first got into the series with the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES, and she'd also played Mario 64, almost every Zelda game, Star Fox, Banjo-Kazooie, and more. It almost doesn't need to be said that it was Kerrie Kane's dream to work with Nintendo one day. And so, just a few months after finding herself a voice acting agent, Kerrie Kane heard that Nintendo was recasting the role of Rosalina, and so she recorded an audition tape for them to listen to. But almost immediately afterwards, she started having doubts. She explained, "After I sent in my audition, I of course second-guessed myself. Why did I say that? Why did I say that like that, etc. Finally, I gave myself a break and thought, well, at least I got to audition for them." So Kerrie Kane didn't think she got the role, but she was soon in for a surprise. "I was shocked when I heard I was their top pick for the character. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it on the way to record. I still didn't believe it when I was in there recording, nor on the way home, or, well, you get the idea." At the studio, she was asked to make a lot of noises, things like ah and yeah and whoo. The longest sentence she recorded was, not bad. So what was the final result? Well, a few months later, Mario Kart 7 was released, featuring Kerrie Kane as Rosalina. Take a listen.
Okay. All right. Ta-ta. Woohoo! No. Woohoo! Oh, yeah!
So, Mario Kart 7 was the first game featuring Kerrie Kane. I think it's likely that Nintendo hoped it would be the first of many. However, just as people were getting used to this new voice, Kerrie Kane was forced to leave the role behind. You see, Kane and her family decided to move 3,000 miles across America, from Seattle on the west coast to Florida on the east. She knew that moving so far away meant she'd probably lose her voice roles from Seattle, and in this case, she was right. "I was, of course, disappointed," she said, "but that's how it goes." So, after just one game featuring their new Rosalina voice actress, Nintendo had to scramble to find someone to replace Kerrie Kane. For the third time now, they began holding auditions. And one person who heard about these auditions was a voice actress by the name of Faye Smith. Like Kerrie Kane before her, Faye Smith was a fan of Nintendo games. As a kid, she was practically addicted to Super Mario World. But my personal favourite anecdote was from when Faye Smith was performing in a play. She and a couple of other actors would regularly play Mario Kart on their DS's backstage while the play was still going on. When it was her turn to appear on stage, she'd put down her DS and rush to go get ready for her cue. So when Faye Smith heard about this audition for the role of Rosalina, she was pretty excited. She recorded an audition tape and sent it to Nintendo. And then she was invited to an actual recording studio to do a second audition, with Nintendo giving her tips as she performed. She said in an interview, "I remember leaving and thinking that even if I didn't book the job, it was a really good experience and how nice the Nintendo team were. They made me feel really comfortable and ready to play." Well, it turned out that Nintendo had a good time too, because Faye Smith was soon informed that she got the role. She was the new voice of Rosalina. Her first appearance was in Super Mario 3D World in 2013. Take a listen.
Hello there. That's right. Here I go. Woohoo! Finally. I'm ready. Let's do this. Never give up. Oh, no. Ta-ta. No!
So you might expect the story to end here, but not quite. You see, Rosalina's next game was Mario Golf for the 3DS. But take a listen to her voice in the game. If you were listening closely, you might have realized that instead of Faye Smith, those voice clips sounded more like Kerrie Kane. And in an email, Kerrie Kane confirmed, "Those are all my voice clips in the new Mario Golf World Tour game. It's nice hearing some of the additional recordings. There are other ones as well. I wonder if we'll ever hear them." You see, back when Kerrie Kane recorded her voice lines for Mario Kart 7, there were a handful of clips that never ended up being used in the game, and it was these unused voice lines that were used in Mario Golf World Tour. Then, the next game featuring Rosalina was Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. And again, the game featured old recordings of Kerrie Kane. By now, Laura Faye Smith, Rosalina's new voice actress, was understandably a little confused, stating, "Unfortunately, because I'm an independent contractor and don't work for Nintendo, I have no idea why they use the voices they do on specific games. You'd have to ask them." Finally though, in 2014, Nintendo stopped using those old voice clips of Rosalina and switched over to using Laura Faye Smith's voice instead for their new game, Mario Kart 8.
Let's go, Rosalina!
Finally, Laura Faye Smith was back as Rosalina, which seems like the end of the story, but unfortunately the confusion doesn't end here. You see, 1 year after Mario Kart 8, Nintendo released Mario Party 10, and if you look through the end credits, you'll find a certain voice actress's name popping up again. That's right, Kerrie Kane is once again credited as the voice of Rosalina, though strangely her name is spelt with a Y. That's not how Kerrie Kane's name is spelt, and that's also not her voice in the game. Mario Party 10 features Laura Faye Smith as Rosalina, which Kerrie Kane herself confirmed in an interview. "My script didn't have a 'here I go' or the 'let's go' that I hear from Rosalina in Mario Party 10. So this time round, Nintendo just screwed up the credits. Still, as long as it's just a one-off mistake, then no harm done, right? Which is why it's pretty embarrassing that they made the same mistake 2 more times, crediting Laura Faye Smith's voice as having been recorded by Kerrie Kane. Again, to reiterate, Kane was living 3,000 miles away at the time. This is a truly odd mistake to make 3 times in a row. However, all bizarre credits confusion aside, Laura Faye Smith continues to reprise her role as Princess Rosalina in the Super Mario series. Turn on, for instance, Super Mario Party, and hers is the voice that you'll hear.
Yes!
But if you've got a Nintendo Switch, then you can easily compare all 3 voices, because Mercedes Rose appears in Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Kerrie Kane is still the voice of Rosalina in the Smash series, including Smash Ultimate, and then Laura Faye Smith is in the new games that Nintendo releases. It's interesting to have so many different voice changes in such quick succession, to the point that you can directly compare them using just one console. Which leaves just one question. Which is the best Rosalina voice? Personally, I like all of them. In Galaxy, Rosalina sounds solemn, perhaps sad even. Then in Mario Kart 7, she's a little more optimistic and hopeful. And then in the newer games, she's bouncy and energetic. Ultimately, the voice you like best is down to personal preference. Let me know which one you like the best in the comments. But that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and a huge thanks to all of my patrons. An extra special thanks to my $10 tier patrons: Alison Withernall, Brandon Pimentel, Brett and Eric, Candy Crystal, Cyprian Eof, Daryl Gero, Ellie Birnbaum, Evan Kinney, J.E., Jim Gilsonen, Kieran Chan, Kelly Wright, Lucas Little, Michael Gunter, Skate or Pie, and Thomas Söderlund.